I'm going to be telling you about Team Effort. Team Effort is the wonderful organization that puts together the missions trips. They have great staff that are always keeping everybody's spirits up and having fun. They serve our meals and put on skits and prepare games for us to play. This year we went to Blue Knob, Pennsylvania, and our group leader was Ben. He is funny and goofy sometimes, but also made sure the work got done and it was done correctly. He supervised us, but also let us do what we thought would work instead of micromanaging, and I think we all appreciated that. Team Effort and its staff always go above and beyond to make the trip an overall amazingly memorable experience we can carry in our hearts forever. I think that they help inspire people to come back by making learning about the church fun and seeing the positive effects it has on people right in front of our eyes. Okay, wait, there's another one. I have to do two. Okay. At the first work site, we were at the house of a family with 2 daughters and an adorable dog. We enjoyed having that little dog around to keep us company while we worked. Caitlin and Kata were the girls. Caitlin was the older of the 2 girls. We didn't really get to see much of her, but she seemed nice when we did. Kata is 11 years old and has cerebral palsy. It was great to see how we got to spend a lot of time with her, and we went in and played with her. She's 11 years old, and we would play monkey see, monkey do with her for an hour at a time, and her eyes just lit up every time we went in, and she was holding our hands and trying to scoot up next to us. She would get a little bit feisty if we didn't do what she said. She would stop the game completely and have us until we did it right. But she was super sweet and caring, so it was fun to see how grateful she was when we played with her.
We built 2 different decks. The one that I was working on, it was a 12-foot by 8-foot deck extension to their current deck. We also put a roof on it with this tar paper, and we needed something to cut it with, so I used my knife, and I found out tar sticks to everything, permanently, so that was nice. It rained a lot, especially the first day when we got there, and Frank's car was all nice and clean, and by the end of the week it was just covered with mud and up the back of his seats. The purpose of the deck was so that the family that lives there could keep their belongings out of the rain, and so that they didn't have to go out in the grass, because it's a low-lying area, so it would fill up with water quickly. The ground was always soaked. So it kept their stuff dry, and it'll keep their stuff dry. So.
Hi, my name is John. When we first arrived at the first site, the foundation was already ready, and the people that we were helping came out and said hi a couple times. We had to build the floor, the railing, and the roof. It took a lot of hard work and perseverance, but we got it done. When we were all done, we had to take a picture at the end, and the deck, one side slid about 3 inches. It turned out that it wasn't secured, so we secured it and took our picture.
Hi, my name's Elijah. I'm going to be reading Generations, chapter 5, verses 13 through 18. Ye, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather serve one another humbly in love. For the entire law is fulfilled in keeping this one command. Love your neighbor as yourself. If ye bite and devour each other, watch out, or you will be destroyed by each other. So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other, so that you are not to do whatever you want. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law.
Hi, I'm Wesley. Our youth group this week had a theme, and as you can see by our shirts, our theme was Go, Serve, and Love. And every night we had a private chapel time where we talked about how we served and loved on the work site, and also we shared a high and a low for the day. And sometimes the highs and lows would be pretty funny to listen to people, what they had to say about it. And this week we also had prayer partners who would give gifts and stuff like candy, drinks, and encouraging words in our group. And by the end of the week, or we revealed them on Friday, and by the end of the week it got kind of hard to keep yours a secret, because like by then they would kind of know who you were, because like, for example, I had my mom, and I would ask her, I'd be like, so did you get anything from your prayer partner? And then when she would say no, I'd like go back, get the stuff, and give it to her in like 5 minutes and be like, oh, here's from your prayer partner. Now can I snack on it or have a drink of it? So, and this helped us grow closer together. And then also this week we had a lot of fun and we had a lot of free time. So during lunchtime during the work time, during lunchtime, we would go, 2 of the days we went to this creek area, like a park, I guess, and we would go for like a swim in the creek every time. And like the second day we went, the creek was like really like rapid, like it was kind of scary to get into, because you're like getting pulled away by the creek as you were trying to swim in it, so that was kind of scary. And on Thursday, we only had half a day on the work site, so for the second half of the day, we went to an escape room. And that was really fun because we got to one of it was a Y2K bunker, and the other one was like was it like a Bigfoot escape? Like you had to let some guy, I don't know. But I was in the Y2K one and we lost, but the Bigfoot guy, they won. And then on Friday, we had a full free day, so we went to this state park, like this, it was kind of like a lake, I guess, and we got to do kayaking and paddle boarding, and then we got to swim, so that was really fun, even though it was rainy the whole time.
Hi, I'm Madison, and I'm going to be talking about chapel. So the theme for chapel was cast your nets, and it was just about casting your nets in life for God to just come help you. Throughout the week, different leaders talked about how some points of their lives were so low and they had no one to talk to and no one to reach out to for help. So they just put their foot down and casted their nets to just trust in the Lord and for the Lord to come help them. During the week, we had devotion books that we had to fill out. There were like little verses you had to find and fill in the missing words and like questions. And in those books, there were 4 words. It was trust, thirst, follow, and love. And throughout the week, we had to find the true meaning of those words on our work site and in what we did. I would say that all of us found out the true meaning of those words because on the work site, it was like we had a really good time. At the end of the week, the leaders decided to put it on like a small drama for us. And there was a chalkboard. And some people came up and wrote, like, I love my phone, or I follow different, like, dramas, or, like, news feed or whatever. And then 2 other people tried to change their words for it to say, I love God, I follow Christ. And it just really showed us how people are trying to just reach out to others and bring them closer to the Lord. It was amazing how we just... Every night we got to go there and just pour our hearts out with everyone and just sing at the top of our lungs. One song we sang quite often was, it said, there's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. And then it says, oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And it just proves to show you how much God loves you and how he would do anything for you. On the last night of chapel, we had like a separate like group time where we just got to reflect on the week and like how we did on the work site and how we drew closer to the Lord and to others that were around us. And when we were done discussing our week, we got to cut a piece of net, so we will always remember to cast the net in our lives.
So just some points of clarification. So the escape room was mostly adults in one room, and then Patty, who was like a secret weapon when it comes to games, and youth in the other room. and we had some youth with us. But what was interesting is, they got the Y2K room that they had no idea what Y2K was. And then we were in the other room, and we had a couple youth with us. We had John and Brendan and Callie. Am I missing anyone? Jensen and Ari. And and our group won. And I just want to point that out. There was the other thing to point out, too. The way team effort works is, people apply for this help to, and for these needs. And so this was the last week of their 9 weeks of being in Blue Knob. So we were the last week kind of wrapping up the project. So in our defense, the 2 decks were already started previously. So the one that did literally fall was that they had already done that part. So, and that was Pastor Jody's deck, if I'm throwing that out there. So thankfully, yes, thankfully, we shared every night at chapel. So we would share stories, and we, like what was fun, what was God sighting, or whatever. And so John gets up there in front of everybody and he tells that story, but he left it at, and it fell. And he stood there, and everybody in the chapel is just waiting for, the rest of it, So anyways, we're glad that it did fall, because we were able to, it was an oversight of Ben, that, the lag bolts and stuff that were supposed to be put in there. So thankfully that helped him remember, hey, we were supposed to put those in. So as you watch those, you'll see the first deck that was done for Kada, so that she, instead of going down the grass, she could enjoy some more space on the deck, and then because they have a wheelchair ramp. So you'll be able to see the previous deck and what we extended onto that. And then the other folks, we can't even tell you their name really. Some people decide to stay to themselves, and some, and then some are really welcoming, and so theirs was a complete, just big deck. So you'll see that, and we're so thankful for Patty for putting this all together, and all the pictures and making it happen. So watch the video, and then okay, good job, and then and think of questions, and then you can ask, because these 4 people down here thought they were getting out of stuff, so they'll be the first 4 to answer any questions that you have. And I'm sorry, one more thing real quick. There are 6 more youth that are not here because they were at band camp this week, or they might be at other events. But just so you know, there were 6 more youth, and then I think all the adults, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mrs. Nolan's not here, and that would be 6. Oh, and then Megan's up there. So there were 23 total, just so that you're aware of all that. So let's watch this.
In my wrestling and in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. In the silence, you won't let go. In the questions, your truth will hold. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Tomorrow brings with spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. And you have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. I've been reeling, watching the nightly news. Don't seem to find the rhythm, just wanna sing the blues. Feels like a song that never stops. Feels like it's never gonna. Gotta get that fire back in my bones before my heart turns into stone. So when somebody please pass the megaphone, I'll shout it on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Oh, hear my prayer tonight, I'm singing to the sky. Give me strength to raise my voice, let me testify. Oh, hear my prayer tonight, 'cause this is do or die. The time has come to make a choice, and I choose. Let it move, let it move, let it move. Yeah, I choose. Let it move you, let it move, let it move. Yeah, back when I was younger, my eyes were full of life. But now that I am older, I live at the speed of light. Feels like the cycle never stops. Feels like it's never gonna. Gotta get that fire back in my bones before my heart turns into stone. So when somebody please pass the megaphone, I'll shout it on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Oh, hear my prayer tonight, I'm singing to the sky. Give me strength to raise my voice, let me testify. Oh, hear my prayer tonight, 'cause this is do or die. The time has come to make a choice, and I choose. Let it move, let it move, let it move. Yeah, I choose. Let it move you, let it move, let it move. Though I walk through the valley in the shadow of night, oh, with you by my side, I'm stepping into the light. I choose. Let it move you, let it move, let it move. I need that joy down in my heart to stay. I need that joy down in my heart to stay. Let it move, let it move, let it move, let it move you, oh, let it move, let it move, yeah. Though I walk through the valley in the shadow of night, oh, with you by my side, I'm stepping into the light. I choose. Let it move, let it move, let it move.
Will you go turn on those first two light switchers? Thank you, Patty, again for making that. Okay. Any pictures that it looked like we were doing something unsafe or not using a tool properly, most of those were all photoshopped or staged. So just so you're aware, because I know some of you are looking there, Ed Schaefer's, deciding how long that is going to stay up, and but those were photoshopped. Okay, questions that you thought of.